Hello and welcome to As the CMMC Churns. I'm Matt Titcomb from Peak InfoSec, an authorized CMMC third-party assessment organization. I'm also a CMMC certified assessor and CMMC curriculum developer. Today's As the CMMC Churns is Overengineering for CMMC. And as we've warned, even right off the bat, whatever happens from this point on is not scripted and subject to Matt flub up. So have fun. Now, right off the bat, you might be engineering for CMMC if you have two devices, one for CUI and one for normal work. You lock up your device in a safe at night in the office. You set up a separate Active Directory domain just for CUI, and you don't allow CUI users and their devices to access normal services from their normal on-high device, i.e., I can't check my normal email. Yep, those may be indicators you've overengineered CMMC. Now, I do have to give a caveat and a warning here. Those are okay. And there may be valid business reasons why these all make sense and why you should be doing them. Again, there is no perfect use case. And a lot of this is, I hate to say it, the two most dreaded words when it comes to CMMC and everything in this ecosystem. It depends. They do apply here. But again, you might be over-engineering for CMMC. And that's what we're really going to talk about today. Now, as a result of overengineering, the simple fact is when businesses do it, they are wasting their employees' time because they're overstressing them. They're creating business friction, and that business friction is making you flush your money down the drain, literally. So again, this isn't necessarily a practice we want to encourage within your business enterprise. Now, the source of overengineering fundamentally does come from my most favorite paragraph if you're around me for any length of time, NIST SP 800-171, paragraph 1.1. And it's actually in the second sentence. It's after the scope. We've defined the scope, and now we're talking about how we can shrink that scope, and we get to that word by isolating. And we over-apply the word isolating and the isolation techniques. Many times it goes real extreme, and the simple reality is the most extreme example is you're treating that CUI system as if it is truly classified. Yeah, let me just stop here. Controlled, unclassified information. Protected, in accordance with the way DoD wants it protected, but it's not secret. Let's just kind of keep that in mind as we're working through this. Now, as a part of that then also is it's really that last sentence is about how you employ physical and logical separation or a combination of both to achieve that isolation. And logical is the most common mechanism we run into. Now, the other related thing of this is not only having problems within understanding that definition or over-interpreting that definition, but it's also not understanding the requirements. This is where you get to use the requirements to your advantage. We're here to help. The other source of overengineering, frankly, is DoD's requirement in DFAR 7012 that requires you to use a FedRAMP moderate or high, if you're using ITAR data, requirement. Now, that's not just, it's the cloud service provider must be FedRAMP moderate or high. It's that it meets paragraph C through G, etc. Technically, just to be honest, Microsoft Office 365 and Azure Commercial are FedRAMP High. You can configure it. It will meet FedRAMP High requirements out of the box. Yep, can do. Does not meet paragraph C through G requirements in DFAR 7012. So it fails there. Top of that, then it fails for ITAR data, which is only then in GCC high. So again, that drives many times just from a business cost point of view, we need separate Office 365 environments. Now you got two environments. Now everybody starts to split everything out and it gets a bigger and bigger chasm until it's unmanageable. That's the most common source of overengineering we find is people kind of coming in, over complicating the word isolating, not understanding the requirements, saying, really, that FedRAMP requirement. Now, we're going to have some fun. We're going to go back to the land of castles, and guess what? I get to be a dork and a nerd and go back to my days of playing Dungeons and Dragons in high school. Now, when we look at a castle, it's got many different components. We're not going to try and explain them all, and it can have lots of discussions about the best fighting positions, defensible positions, etc. But when we talk defense in depth from an IT cybersecurity point of view, this is what we're discussing. Is we're thinking of this castle in the back of our nerd minds, sorry to say, and we're looking at this and kind of going, okay, well, how does this apply to protecting our information, our crown jewels? Guess where that term came from when it comes to doing this? Well, the simple reality is you've got first and foremost at the outer gate, you've got really your next generation firewall and that internet port where whoever your provider is connects to your internal business network. That's your outer gate. That really is. Now what happens after that, now you've created that outer wall. That outer wall is basically saying, hey, nobody's allowed to come in unless you're authorized and you're approved, and we've got the gates open for whatever we're going to allow in, subject to monitoring and inspection. And it's also going to say, well, we may not let you out if we decide to close the gates, or we're only going to open the gates at certain hours, etc. That's your traffic restrictions to and from the internet. That default by deny all rule that's in the SC domain, that's where this is kind of mapping to loosely. Now, the reality is then the next part is the inner wall. So you've got that outer wall, what's allowed in, and the inner wall. Now, in this case, this is now where you're starting to define the key internal boundaries. You can see kind of in that diagram what is called that, that inner area is also commonly known as the keep. And that's your crown jewels that you want to protect. Now, the simple reality is that space between that inner wall and the outer wall, otherwise known as the outer bailey, is your DMZ, your demilitarized zone. So within that space, I've now got a second boundary that basically says, did a thief or a criminal or somebody try and break in, then I now have a tighter set of restrictions. I can lock them in and I know what they're doing. And now they got to go through second set of inspection from that DMZ point of view into it. Likewise, somebody from the inside can always go out to the DMZ and out. Now, outside of that, now once you're past that DMZ, you're coming in and you're inside that boundary. Again, you are now in the keep. This is where the Lord and all of his armed guards and everybody else lives. They keep all the storage, the grains are kept there. Everything's protected in this inner sanctum. Again, the crown jewels are here. Normally, even within the keep walls, there you've kind of got the two buildings on the end. Typically, one of those is where the throne and everything else is kept. Again, it's a third layer on the inside, a little bit tighter, but we don't need to worry about that one. Now, we've got the last thing on the diagram of towers. Towers are there for continuous monitoring. Why? Because, well, we don't want people invading the castle. And when we see the invaders coming, we pull all the commoners in, put them in the DMZ, give them pitchforks and knives and whatever, and let them fight for us and protect the castle and the Lord and all the good stuff that's on the inside in the keep. That's how the game gets played, and it's no different for what you're doing in the internet and everything else today. Now, the problem is we're trying to apply this same concept now to how you're operating as a business for your CUI environment. Now, the simple reality is we're now talking about the definition of a security domain. Again, this is going back to 800.171, paragraph 1.1. Now, straight from the glossary of 171, that security domain implements a security policy is administered by a single authority. You. It's your business. What happens in that keep is you. You are the authority in that space. Not DOD, interestingly. You are. You have to follow their guidance, but you establish the authority within that purview. So in this way, you could kind of think of realistically, DoD is the king that oversees the lands, and you were a lord or a baron, and you've been given a castle and a part of that land, and you're required to protect it within that environment. Now, again, from that point of view, it's your castle, and it's the land you're responsible for protecting on behalf of the king, DoD. So in that context, you've got your CUI part of the business. That's the internal part. That's what you're really having to protect to make sure the king's getting his taxes, etc. And you've got the commercial business activities that you're also doing on the outside, growing your grains, making parts for DoD, whatever. And you've also got your armed forces that are protecting the business. Now, realistically, when we talk about this from a CUI point of view, 800-171 definitions, you've got the CUI part of the business is your CUI components. Your armed forces are your security protection components. And then that commercial stuff is all out of scope. That's it. It's that easy. Now, we further break that down: CUI assets, security protection assets, customer risk managed assets, which are basically your serfs when they come in the gate to help you to protect. And then your armed forces are your security protection components. Again, this is a part of basically the way you're structured from a protection point of view. Now, the trick here is what everybody forgets is that you control the gate. You control your portcullis. And you get to decide what it goes up and down for and what you're going to allow to happen from you within the inside of your castle to the outside. Now, again, your security domain is both what encompasses what is in the castle and where your serfs work. Get to say that British, we were serfs as a family growing up, so nothing too surprising there. Now, the security domains, you want to employ both physical and logical. Now, obviously, the castle we're talking about here is a physical separation. That portcullis goes down, that gate goes down. You're not getting in through that. Or you're really small, or you've sent somebody dug underneath it. Again, that's how unauthorized access occurs. Now, at the same time, we're doing a logical access. You may be looking at people's badges and IDs when they're coming through. That's, again, now a logical type access where the security guards are monitoring what's coming and going. Now, then the other thing is you've actually got now two requirements in 800-171 that you control, that you manage. Again, got to keep with King DoD to keep him happy. Is you got 313, you're controlling the flow of CUI. Well, CUI, the crown jewel, should not be going out to commoner land. They stay inside. And then you're verifying, controlling connections both in and out to the external systems on the outside of that portcullis. That's what you're setting up. You are the deciding authority. You are the lord of that portcullis. Use it wisely. So let's kind of walk through a multi-tenant use case that we run into commonly. An OSCU uses a commercial Office 365 for normal work and for a GCC high tenant for CUI work. And that happens to have, export controlled information. Most common thing we run into. So how do you know you might be over-engineered? You're using two separate devices. Right off the bat, indicator to me you've overcomplicated this. Optimized? Well, I've got one GCC high device for those internal that can access the normal function. Guess what? Let's kind of talk about an analogy here. Commoners and the king uses horses. Okay. That horse from the king's side can go out to the commoner area, but they generally don't want the commoner horses coming in. Just as an example, you can do the same thing here. In that case, another one where is you can't access normal resources from that high device. That horse on your horses in your stable within your keep are not ever allowed to leave your keep. Kind of hard to patrol, but again, you can kind of see the analogy here. And if you're not allowing your users in your high environment to access your normal business stuff, you're making it harder for them. They can't access your HR policies, all the normal stuff that is outside of scope. Now, you can do this easily with a high device using today. Microsoft Office offers a B2B trust that with their high credentials, they can log into all the common lower level services that are available. Works great. I'd leverage it. And we've done it for other clients too. The other one is the most common thing that's kind of in the back of everybody's mind is you're afraid of a data spill from the high side and you basically create that data moat to isolate everything that's going on. If you're doing this properly, you're using a data loss prevention capability to make the data spill inaccessible from low. Simple answer is, for example, in a team site, you put all of your CUI projects in a team site and it's in the document libraries and we auto-label and auto-protect them. Bang. Now, the moment it leaves that team site, unless it's been stepped down in a security process, if it gets there, you can't open it because you got to have high credentials to open it no matter where it goes. Trick there. So again, protect your data no matter where it goes. And you don't have to worry about this as much. So one of the things that I'm going to bring up here, and this is what we run into a lot, is people, when you're over engineering, and you're overthinking, you're overcomplicating, it's the same thing Mr. Thurno used to tell me in high school. Matt, you're too close to the bark to see the tree that's in the forest that's on the mountain. And he would use that, and that would be like, oh, well, what do you mean, Mr. Thurno? And he would kind of pull me back and make me understand from a broader, bigger perspective what was potentially going on. Again, many times we find our clients are way too close to the way they think they're operating and the way they're trying to manage their employees and not understand culture and change management, that we have flexibility in here that you don't need to over-engineer and overcomplicate this environment. So let's sum up. It is really easy to over-engineer for CMMC. And when you have over-engineered for CMMC, your business friction and costs are going to go up. The other thing is people find workarounds. They don't like it. They're trying to take care of it. They don't realize the business risks, so they try and work around the things you've set up. Now, in doing so, wisely leverage 800-171 and the requirements to avoid over-engineering. There are use cases where you do need to do this and there's no other way to do it. And if you have no sense of perspective and you're way too close to the bark on the tree that's in the forest that's on the mountain, bring out outside expertise to help you gain perspective on what you're doing. Our next CMMC Churns is going to be controlling your conversation with your assessor. Yep, you want to do this, and it doesn't need to look quite as crazy about this, but there's actually a good story behind this picture. Again, I'm Matt Titcomb. Thanks for joining us this week for the CMMC Churns, and we'll see you next time.